So
what?
on another note, I have a mystery story for everybody.
Ooh.
I'm going to read this story, and there's going to be rules with this story.
Oh, man.
You got to listen.
Is this one of those like read along? Turn to page 6 if you want to
So
go.
It's actually popcorn.
go
I
into
think.
the cave.
Pre-meep test.
Pain on the numbers.
Pre-meep.
Did you guys get gum with your meep?
No, we got chocolate milk and blueberry muffins.
We got Nutri-Grain bars,
Yeah.
gum. Like,
Gum?
yeah, they gave us, because gum helps you concentrate.
You guys must have been rich.
It's Fenton, man.
Wasn't the meep the one where if you did well, you got a scholarship?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
We got money. You got gum, though. That's cool. Okay, go ahead.
I really upset my
I
parents
think
how well I did on the meat
when
test.
did you guys take them?
High school.
High school.
And-
Oh, yeah, you weren't a part
We
of
only
that.
had it up until 5th grade,
Yeah.
and they got rid of it.
If you did so well,
'Cause it
you
ended up being
got
a sham.
You got like $1,000 a year.
I got
going
$4,000.
Yeah, and I got $4,000. We were the last year, I think, or the year after us. They got like half or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they quit that because it's stupid.
Go on with the core film.
All right.
I know.
So this story, I'm gonna read it. Everyone, hold your thoughts. Just listen, and enjoy.
Jeff, don't breathe in the mic. Go
Okay.
ahead, Ryan.
So the story is from the Vintage News. I want to give credit where credit is due. It's written by Ian Harvey. These are real events. This actually happened, and it's a crazy mystery story.
Get to the story.
So it's February of 1948. A resident of Clearwater, Florida, comes face to face with something totally unexpected. Walking the beach one morning, he stumbled upon a set of remarkable footprints in the sand. The prints were enormous, about 14 inches long and 11 inches wide. And even more remarkably, it had 3 toes, tipped with long claws.
But then when he looked backward,
Nope.
there
was
was only
one rule.
one set of
There's
footprints.
one
There
rule.
was one rule. So,
There's
tipped with long claws, the tourist tells the story of the strange tracks which came out of the Gulf of Mexico at the south end of the beach and walked on shore for about 2 miles before returning to the water and disappearing. No one could figure out what made the footprints, but 4 to 6 foot strides. But with the 4 to foot with
Today,
Yeah,
The.
okay, but with the 4 to 6 foot strides, it showed that whatever it was big. The creature's tracks showed up on the beach of various Florida towns for about 2 years. Its tracks were seen in towns between Clearwater and Sarasota, earning the name Old Three Toes. Very genius. During that time, several people claimed to have spotted the monster. For what else could it be? It was described as a large bird-like or large furry log with a head shaped like a hog's. It's like a pig.
Huh.
People's reactions ranged from baffled to terrified to skeptical. If it was some strange creature from the water, what havoc could it cause if it chose? If it was a hoax, who would go through so much trouble and to what end? More tracks were also found along the Suwannee River, which is about 40 miles from the ocean.
El Chupacabra.
So massive footprints, 4 to 6 foot strides, and it ranges a ways away from the ocean, which is strange. The strange tracks came to the
I
attention
think
of
I met this broad. I'm just kidding.
the strange tracks came to the attention of Ivan T. Sanderson, a zoologist of some repute, who wrote and commented on scientific issues in New York. Sanderson came to Florida to investigate and spent months studying the tracks and interviewing witnesses. He even dug up one of the prints to take home, according to an article in the Tampa Bay Times. Sanderson was like the Indiana Jones of the zoology world.
Did he write this article?
No, he didn't.
He's just patting himself on
He's
the
like
back.
the Indiana Jones of this industry.
Okay, so Indiana Jones, he made
One rule.
He made several trips to the African jungle for Cambridge University and the British Museum, which he then used as a fodder to write a best-selling book. He was also the person who came up with the term cryptozoology, referring to the pursuit of creatures out of legend, such as the Loch Ness Monster.
Bitcoin.
If anyone could crack the mystery of those three-toed tracks, it was believed to be him. After doing an extensive study and research, he determined that the prints couldn't be a hoax. They seemed far too deeply imprinted to have been made by a man or machine. He even went as far as to say he spotted the creature himself. He described it as being about 12 feet long, grayish yellow, and having large arms that resembled flippers. He also said it made big waves swimming as if it had a powerful kick. His final conclusion was that the creature had to be an enormous penguin, as silly as the idea sounded.
3 toes.
Yeah. After that, the tracks were spotted a few more times throughout the 50s, but after 1958, there were no more sightings of either prints or giant penguins. So, there's an enormous monster running around in Florida. 30 years later, on June 11th, 1988, the mystery was finally solved. The St. Petersburg Times wrote an article stating that old three toes was a hoax. A man from Clearwater named Tony Signorini.
Tony Three Toes.
Signorini.
Who cares? He's a liar.
You're Italian. You should know that.
He had confessed that he and a prankster friend had been responsible for leaving the mysterious tracks all those years ago. The article's writer went to Signorini's auto shop to interview him, and while the interviewer was there, he showed her a pair of very large cast iron feet with 3 toes. According to Signorini, at the instigation of Al Williams, his friend and boss at the time, they had created the 30-pound feet.
Wow.
Williams had apparently been taken with some photos from Smithsonian Magazine, which showed a dinosaur footprint that had been fossilized. After examining the print for a while, Williams came up with the idea to make the feet that matched.
What in the world?
And thought they would have fun with it. When the feet were complete, they bolted them to a pair of high-top tennis shoes. The 2 men loaded them into a rowboat and went to shallow water not far from shore, where Signorini would put the Dino Feet on and wade out of the water to the beach. To make the tracks so far apart, Signorini would balance on one foot, swinging the opposite leg back and forth to work up the momentum to make the jump to the other foot. Since each of the metal objects weighed about 30 pounds, the feat took some time and some stamina. Over the
Get
year,
a good swing on that thing.
Brother needs a hobby.
yeah.
He's got one. He makes footprints.
Over the years, Signorini would occasionally pull the feet out of hiding and tell friends and family of the story of how the tracks came to be. And over time, he's left the only major player around to remember. His partner Al Williams died in 1970. Ivan Sanderson,
Ironically, of a penguin killing.
Ivan Sanderson, the cryptologist or whatever he was,
Bitcoin guy. Yeah.
Indiana Jones, Ivan Sanderson had taken his interest in cryptozoology elsewhere,
taking his own life out of how upset he was.
Okay, anyways, he took his time and went to research Bigfoot and UFOs prior to his own death in 1973. Tony finally died in 2013, leaving the fabled feet to his son Jeff. Jeff inherited the feet, and
it was you sick bastard.
Dirty.
I guess they've become somewhat of a legacy in the local area.
Is there a restaurant with like 3-legged cafe?
I don't know.
3-toe
I
cafe?
thought that story was interesting, that he got a whole town believing that there was a giant 12-foot penguin running around and had researchers coming down. And
my guess was if it wasn't fake, it was gonna be the aquatic skunk ape.
What's that?
It doesn't have 3 toes, but it's like a tropical
Looks like Jeff
Bigfoot.
with
It's the Florida Sasquatch,
Correct.
basically.
Correct. Yeah.
And it's aquatic?
Yeah.
I was waiting for a joke. Like 3 years later, in a distant, remote cave, they found a man named Oswald Cobblepot, and that's
Penguin?
that's the penguin from Batman. I thought that would have been funny. I was waiting for it to be a big joke.
I thought the Indiana
is
Jones
all real.
guy was
Oh.
gonna kill the guy with the feet because he
it approached him. And
Oh, like he's
Tried
going
to
to get
defend
shot?
himself.
my life's work's been into this.
Yeah.
And it's a big
Well, that's
hoax.
what I'm kind of wondering. Because that guy, Indiana Jones, was fighting for the fact that this is real. I
Right.
saw it.
it wasn't you.
How-
It couldn't have been.
It couldn't have been.
I spent years of my life on this. He's real.
At
I
what
get-
point
but
would you
he-
start feeling guilty? Like, all right, I'm eating up everybody's time. This is a little shitty.
I don't know if I
Yeah.
could. You
You
believe
don't know if
that?
you could feel guilty?
Yeah, about that. You're carrying around 30-pound feet. That's worth it.
I wonder if that, like, Indiana Jones guy was, like, commissioned. Like, who's writing the check for that?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I mean, he was working for some big companies.
Cambridge. Yeah.
Yeah, and the British Museum and all that.
Yeah.
So
On
There
that
you go.
note,
Cool.
we hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Green Outdoors podcast.
And story time.
That's the penguin from Batman. Come on.
No, I'm still not getting it. Anyhow, check out the Green Outdoors TV show. You can find that on thegreenoutdoors.com and also our YouTube channel, Carbon TV. Check us out there, and we're also on a bunch of other streaming services that you can find out how to watch our show if you go to thegreenoutdoors.com, click how to watch, and you can find all the services there. In addition, our secondary Huntcast TV show, which can be found on our YouTube channel and Carbon TV as well. And hopefully Ryan's Dove episode will be done soon and look pretty cool. On top of that, we've got an episode of our podcast which is released at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every single Friday. But if you are listening to this podcast on Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, something like that, you can also find us on our YouTube channel so you can watch it and see cool pictures of things with 3 toes. Thanks so much for tuning in. Stay green.